The Houston Texans have to get more out of their offense. They have to get more out of their quarterback, and they have to support their quarterback more. In a society where it's never enough, you need a lot more if you're the Houston Texans on offense. We'll talk about that, hear from CJ Stroud about this offense, as well as try to solve the tight end problem the Texans currently have. And we'll talk about, with context, the rough day for Ariante Ursary. That and so much more. Appreciate everybody for jumping in. Subscribe to the video. You don't subscribe to the video, you subscribe to the channel. Thumbs up the video. Appreciate you for watching. Get live in the comment section as we go. We'll get to your thoughts, your joys, your questions, your concerns throughout the course of this. And of course, if you're watching after the fact, the comment section is live on the video as well. Plenty to get to. We'll even get to a conversation about our friends at Sleeper, who are the fine sponsors of this video. But let's talk about CJ Stroud and this offense for the Houston Texans. Because if you see the title and you clicked on the video, you're thinking, yeah, CJ's got to do more. He's got to do more with everything around him. And while that's true, it's a two-way street. CJ Stroud has got to get more out of this offense when he utilizes it. But he's also got to get more out of the offense around him. And the other 10 guys that are on the field with CJ Stroud have to help support him as much as he needs to utilize their skills and abilities to make this offense successful. And one of the things that I thought about as I watched CJ Stroud talk about this offense, as I watched CJ Stroud recap that first game, was he's got to be confident in the direction. He's got to be confident in the operation. He's got to be confident in his teammates in this offense, because in the back part of last year, it did not feel like Stroud nor many of his teammates had any confidence in Bobby Slowick and the way that Slowick operated those things. And when you get the early returns that they had, like the returns they had in the game against the Rams, it has to shake and rattle your confidence in the direction a little bit. And especially the way that Stroud talked about some of these things made me kind of do the old Rocky Maivia, or I guess it was The Rock that did that, though. Raise the eyebrow a little bit on exactly what he said and just how confident he is in this offense. Now, he doesn't have to be confident today, but you've got to build that confidence. Stroud to his teammates and the teammates around Stroud. That confidence has to build over the next few weeks to really settle down what this offense can be. But let's hear from CJ Stroud about the conversations about this offense. And I think one of the disappointing elements from the offense is it felt like the defense that they faced, though very good, felt like the defense they faced didn't show them anything different, new, crazy, or out of whack. It just showed them what they'd been seeing in 2024.
Just play shell, a lot of Tampa 2, a lot of disguise, cover 2, and, played over the top. So they did a good job of that. But I feel like we were executing in ways, but just some of those negative plays that we got to just fix. But I thought we moved the ball pretty well, but just got to just put it in the end zone or try to create an explosive somehow. But yeah, we'll be seeing that all year, so we got to get used to it.
When you change so much and the opposing team does the same thing they did to you last year and has roughly the same level of results, that has to shake your confidence a little bit in the operation of the offense, especially at the quarterback position. That's one of the more disappointing elements when you hear Stroud talk about this game, is that the Rams didn't do anything crazy. They didn't do anything exotic. They let their defensive line eat, and then they played their secondary the same way teams played their secondary for the majority of last year against the Houston Texans. When they figured out how CJ Stroud liked to operate, how the Texans like to operate, they put those two safeties in the back, kept everything in front of them, and tried to make it difficult. And that's what the Rams did in this one. And that's unfortunate that what worked against you in 2024 now worked against you here in 2025 when you've changed so much. When you don't see immediate results from something, it has to annoy you, bother you, and maybe your confidence gets adjusted a little bit. Speaking of confidence, you got to have confidence in those 5 fellas up front. And why would CJ Stroud have any confidence in those guys? I know they're his teammates, and I know they made some changes to the offensive line, but until the 5 guys in front of me proved it, I wouldn't be believing in them, and certainly not when those 5 guys switch and swap and change out and move. And the way they practiced for the better part of a month got changed because Ed Ingram got hurt last week ahead of the game. And then they swapped everything around. And Nursery went from left tackle to right tackle, and Cam Robinson was back in, and Titus Howard went from right tackle to right guard, and then the left guard and center stayed the same. So the switching and swapping and changing out, some people say it's not a big deal. It was annoying for C.J. Stroud. And again, got to build confidence around this quarterback.
Yeah, it's not easy, It's something that just, what, you're going to complain about it, or you just, or you're going to lay down, or you're going to go play. So for me, I just try to compete, as best I can and show those guys that I don't care who's in there, like, I trust in you. And by the way I play, I try to play as hard as I can to show that I'm there for them, and also vocally as well. So, but yeah, even, a receiver a little bit, we got some guys, hopefully coming back, hopefully soon. So, yeah, it's not always easy, but, that's why I'm in the position I am, to try to, solve some of those issues, because everybody deals with injuries. But, I think I've, tried to do my best at that.
Now, the offensive coordinator having issues with the coverage that the team had coverage with last year, and the way he calls his offense. The offensive line switching and swapping and changing and adjusting. Those are things where the team has to support C.J. Stroud better. The offensive coordinators got to get plays in there that can beat what the defense is bringing. The offensive line's got to block better. The coaching staff has to put 5 guys out there that you actually believe in, okay, in the spots that they've practiced in for the better part of a month. But some of it's C.J. Stroud. Some of it Stroud has to do himself. Some of it he has to create confidence into his teammates with how he operates. He has to go out there and play better in a couple of different ways, in a couple of different elements. He himself said he didn't love some of the issues that he had in this game. Held on to the ball a little bit too long, and something that he really wanted in the offseason was control at the line of scrimmage. He wanted to be in control of protections and adjustments and things of that nature. And, well, Stroud had some hiccups with that. And when you got something new on your plate at work and it doesn't quite work out, can that shake the confidence a little bit? CJ on the miscues with his new control of the O.
On at least the passing game, they had the fronts we thought they were going to have. I did it correctly. I think I missed 1 or 2, and those are the points in the game where, so I got to do a better job of being in control up there and helping those guys out to get the IDs correct. So, yeah, but other than that, I thought we did a decent job at it. I missed about 2. So, but I think, then again, and I'm not trying to come with excuses, but it's our first game, first time in the system. We'll be better, and I trust in my guys that we'll be all right.
He's right. It is his first time in this system. It's his first time with that level of control at the NFL level. And you know what? The Rams know that. The Rams are going to try to confuse him, adjust things. The context to Stroud and the offense struggling is important. It's a very good Rams defense across from them, and they had some challenges on offense that were out of their control. Christian Kirk's out, and the starting right guard that they wanted was out, but some of the things that they were in control of weren't great. The adjusting and shuffling of the offensive line, some of the play calls that Nick Caley had, and then some of the moments from C.J. Stroud. And he himself not happy overall with his performance, but it's all a starting point for this offensive line. As disappointed as all of us were at the conclusion of that one, that could be the worst it looks all season. They could go up from here, and I still believe in Nick Caley. That was the guy I wanted the Texans to hire before Bobby Slowick got his pink slip. I still believe in him. And if you still feel like there's some excellent quarterback play in C.J. Stroud, which I do, I haven't quit on him just yet, then there's a lot to like about the potential that those elements can get going. The offensive line, it's got a lot of work to do, and you're going to really need those other 6 guys on the field to support those 5 blockers, play in and play out, to really maximize what this offense can do. But they started off not great, but it really shouldn't go backwards from here, and the chances for it to go forward are big, and Stroud is a huge element of that. He's can't be perfect. That's too much to ask from C.J. Stroud, but he can be better in getting rid of the football in a more timely manner. He can be better at the line of scrimmage, okay, if he cuts his miscues in half. He goes from 2 miscues to 1 miscue. That might be enough. That play there might be enough to get them into a better position to call better plays to get into the end zone. Like, he's got to do what he can control and maximize the teammates around him. And one of the big things that I have been a little critical of for Stroud here in the past year plus now is throw guys open. In 2023, he wasn't afraid to throw a guy open. I mean, if the guy wasn't open when he saw it, he was still throwing the ball. He trusted his guys to go where they were going to go. And I don't know that he's built that trust or that those wide receivers he has earned that trust just yet. Now, you would think Nico Collins is that guy. A little bit tougher when the opposing defense tries to take away Nico Collins. But Stroud's got to throw some of those guys open. Just because a guy doesn't look open doesn't mean you can't get him the ball. The great quarterbacks in the league get their guys the ball, even when they don't look like they're open. So that's an element of Stroud's game. And then everything around him. The play calling has got to be better. The run game has got to be better from a push standpoint and a consistency standpoint. The pass blocking obviously has to be better. There's a lot of things that need to improve around this offense. And it starts at the quarterback, being confident in the 10 guys around him and spreading that confidence that he feels good about the direction they're going. He feels good about the offense. Because if the QB ain't bought in, why would anybody else on O buy in? And then it also goes to those other 10 guys around C.J. Stroud, creating confidence that they can do their job so the QB1 can do his job as well. Confidence is key. Stroud needs more out of his teammates. He needs to get more out of his teammates, and he needs his teammates to give him more in their performances as well. We'll talk about Ariante Ursary as well as the tight end situation that the Texans are in. But let's get to some of your comments, your questions, your joys, and your concerns. Members get priority. If you're a member of the channel, appreciate your support. If you have a super chat, you jump to the front of the line. Panda, good to see you this morning. New month, good morning. What a stinker. The offense put up. CJ didn't play great. He needs to improve pocket awareness, but play calling was horrible. Lot left to be desired from the offense in this one, certainly. So it will be intriguing to see how they bounce back against a team that is not a bad defense, not a great defense, but a challenging team in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Good to see you, Gunner. Good to see you, Clippy. Bryce, appreciate you. Gunner, you said something yesterday about not being able to run Nick Chubb into the D-line 25, 30 times a game. I think that's exactly what you do. Here's a 1-year rental. He's not your future. Yeah, but if he breaks down, then you don't have him for the rest of the season. Then you're in a lot of trouble there with that. Mustard Paper, good to see you. MK Adams. AJ, appreciate you for jumping in. Ashton, good to see you. Okay, so how crazy is Eli Cox going to center and Patterson going to guard? And good luck with the rest. It's pretty crazy, Ashton. That's pretty crazy. Don't get too crazy now. That's pretty crazy, though. Derek, good to see you. MK Adams, I missed the offseason, Stoots. Don't be looking at the draft just yet, okay? All right? The offseason was fun, but don't be looking at the draft and free agency just yet. All right? Just yet. Bryce Bellows, hey, Cody, what's the temperature in Nick Casario's hot seat right now? Not even warm, I would think. Not even warm. Yeah, the offensive line that he built, not super impressive yet. And some of the money he spends is weird, but I don't think there's even, you can't even get a temperature read. It hadn't got that warm yet. I think the loss could be a good thing, so it can show the team they can't win with subpar play. Yeah, you know the level that you need to get to, and that defense is going to give you a chance. That's one of the biggest elements of this thing is the defense going to give you a chance. Gamer G, good to see you. Armin, good to see you. He loves the AM streams. Caffeine with Cody this morning. We're going with the Rise Sunny D energy drink. It is so delicious. Spike, we will talk about Cade Stover's injury and him being out here in just a few minutes. Big balls, run the middle with the bad O-line, give you only a few yards. Yeah, they're going to have to get better at the run blocking and moving the pile, and maybe Ed Ingram will help a little bit with that. I don't know what Patterson brings to the table in that. It felt like he was more of the pass blocking center last year. So that's going to be something to pay attention to. Good to see you, Patrick. Good to see you, Dime. Good to see you, Stevan. Black Eighth Element. You got 2-6-4 wide receivers. Throw it up. Well, he did throw it up one time to Jaden Higgins, and Higgins couldn't make the play, and it got intercepted, although that was a crappy call by the officials. That was not an interception. But he threw it up to Jaden Higgins, and Higgins didn't make the play. Now, do you throw it up to Nico Collins a little bit more? Absolutely. Absolutely. Fantasy Life is crazy this morning. He wants to replace C.J. Stroud with Davis Mills, thinking he'd get the same level of production and that they should have traded C.J. Stroud after the first year. No, thank you. BG, appreciate you being in here. AJ Birmingham, seeing J.J. McCarthy throw that dart down the middle to Jefferson in the end zone last night made me think we need one of those from C.J. He needs to stack some confident throws instead of these lobs. And Stroud, in his time in the NFL, has been one of the best over-the-middle quarterbacks in football, too. So give him some opportunities. Get that quick game going in the middle of the field. Let him make a decision. Get the rock out there. And maybe this thing stays on track and stays on time, and you can matriculate down the field and put a freaking touchdown on the board. But, yeah, AJ, you're right. Got to be able to risk it for the biscuit over the middle. And Stroud can do that, and he's done it pretty well. Better play, better plays, better play calling. Yeah, it sounds kind of simple when you say it that way. It sounds kind of simple. Armin lost a lot of confidence in Nick Caley. Well, the Caley crew took a little bit of a hit after week 1, but it's a chance for a bounce back. Just like, in 2023 when the Bobby Slowick crew took a lot of confidence hit after the Carolina game where they were really bad and didn't score enough and probably didn't throw it enough, and Stroud didn't look good. And then Tampa came into town the next week, and it lit up the scoreboard. Sound familiar? I think Caley could have a similar performance with the headset. So just keep that in mind. Dime wants to see NRG buzzing. Get CJ's mojo back that way. Certainly way. Jalen's worried about the tight end situation. Stover can't stay healthy. I mean, he had an emergency appendectomy last year. That's not totally his fault. Breaks his foot. Again, not totally his fault. Good to see you, the original Jay. Okay, a couple things we want to get to before we get to the tight end situation and we get to Ariante Ursery. I do want to quickly tell you about our sponsor this season, Sleeper. Sleeper is daily fantasy. You're putting together anywhere from 2 to 5 predictions together, more or less a given stat, and you win. You multiply your entry. Like the winner we put together last week on the channel, C.J. Stroud, more than 10.5 rush yards. Nick Chubb, more than 50 rush yards. And then we had the Joe Burrow, more than half a passing yard, and we turned $5 into $30. It was that simple. It was that easy. Sleeper is daily fantasy. It's a game of skill. It's a lot of fun, and you're going to get a deposit match up to $100. Use my code Stoots, STOOTS, when you sign up to $100. You put in 100, you get 100 to play with. You put in 50, you get 50 to play with. You put in 10, you get 10 to play with. The link's in the description down below. We're not going to put a pick in today because we got that. Look at that Jaden Daniels kind of freebie right there. More than half a passing yard. He's certainly going to do that. The Texans stuff, not up yet. Monday Night Football, they're not quite there yet. We're going to wait a couple days, but just save that Jaden Daniels free pick. We got 2 days to use it. Save that Jaden Daniels free pick. Get signed up at Sleeper, and we'll use it later in the week in some way, shape, or form. That'll help boost our payout should we be winners. Terms and conditions do apply. Check them out with Sleeper. Now playing in over 25 states across this fine country. Sleeper, we appreciate them for sponsoring this video. Our friends at Hog Media bringing us our friends at Sleeper. O-line or tight end? Where you want to go next? You want to go O-line or tight end to let the chat decide while I get to the super chat from Dom from New Jersey. D'Amico has a love affair with Henry To'oTo'o. He's a solid player, but what is it about that love affair? In all of the things that happened on Sunday, why are we mad at Henry To'oTo'o, Dom? Henry To'oTo'o, who almost decapitated the best player on the Rams offense. Henry To'oTo'o, who knocked the best player on the Rams offense out of the game for a portion of the game. Henry To'oTo'o, who actually was able to cover Devontae Adams a couple times and force an incomplete. Why are we mad at Henry To'oTo'o? He's a perfectly serviceable player. Where is the Dom does this sometimes. He gets mad at random players when there's far more things to get upset and annoyed about. He's mad about Henry To'oTo'o. Henry To'oTo'o is a nice player. He's worked his way from a late-round pick into a starter you can trust. What are we mad about Henry To'oTo'o for? Dom, come on, man. Come on. All right, what do we want to talk about next? The tight end position, the O-line. All right, let's talk about the tight end position. We'll come back to the O-line. Let's give you some, it's actually not really good news with the tight end situation. But the Texans, they have a little bit of a tight end problem right now. The tight end problem is such that Cade Stover's got a broken foot. Now they've got one tight end on the roster, just Dalton Schultz. Now on the practice squad, they've got two tight ends. Got Harrison Bryant, the player they acquired in the trade with the Philadelphia Eagles that sent John Mechie to them. And they've got Luke Lachey, the 7th-round pick, the rookie from Iowa, who didn't particularly look ready for the opportunities, and that's why he was cut and added to the practice squad. Harrison Bryant, they didn't even promote him for this game. They promoted Jakob Johnson. So the tight end situation, it's precarious right now. And what I did was I went through and I looked at every depth chart and every practice squad across the National Football League. And I was trying to find some players that maybe could help the Houston Texans. Maybe a late round pick that you would trade, or maybe a practice squad player that you would steal from somebody's practice squad. And let me tell you, it's not happy hunting out there. Okay. Now I'll sell you on one of these, but the rest of them, it's probably not good. Let's start with a trade candidate, because I didn't really find that many trade candidates. I thought perhaps there were going to be some teams with some excess tight end power that maybe, that coach doesn't like that, or that tight end doesn't fit the new coach or the way they operate on offense. And really, I didn't find that many. But I thought, hey, if you could send like a 6th or 7th round pick to the Kansas City Chiefs for Robert Tonyan, you should maybe think about doing that. Tonyan, if you remember, was really good with the Packers back in the day. He's bounced around a little bit in his years since, but he's not essential to what the Kansas City Chiefs do. And they might like a late round draft pick instead of having Tonyan on the roster. And you get an experienced player, you get a bigger player. He's 6'5", 240. That's not a small tight end by any means. And he's been around the block. He's played a little bit of football. So maybe a late round pick for Robert Tonyan. Anybody interested in that? No? Okay. Well, we'll keep going then. Maybe you want to go visit on the practice squad of some various players. Now, the practice squad is notable in a couple of ways. One, you can sign anybody from anyone's practice squad anytime you want. They have to go on to your active roster, though. You can't grab a practice squad player, put them on your practice squad. You have to sign them, put them on the active roster, and they have to then be on your 53. And then if you get rid of them, you get rid of them, but they're not going to your practice squad. So I was looking for a couple of names, and I was like, okay, maybe I could find somebody on a practice squad somewhere. So I primarily focused on players that had NFL experience and were a little bit bigger tight end, because my thought process is Schultz is your receiving tight end. You need a guy that's got a little bit of mass to him to help with the blocking. So anybody interested in former Houston Texan Nick Vannett? He was on the Texans in 2023 for a quick moment in August, but Vannett's been around the league for 10 years. He's 32 years old, bigger guy, again, 6'5", 266. Anybody interested in Nick Vannett off of the Vikings practice squad? They seem to have their tight end situation pretty squared away. They Probably don't need Vanette. Degura, Josiah Degura from Cincinnati, plays for the Cardinals on their practice squad. A little bit of experience. He's been around the block a little bit, 5 years in the league. Not the biggest guy. He's only 6'2", but 240. Just go in there, throw your body around, and try to get in the way a time or two. Anybody interested in a Degura? How about Steven Carlson, 6'4", 248, 4 years of experience. Smart guy, went to Princeton. Anybody interested in the Steven Carlson? Anyone? Bueller? Caught a 2-point conversion for the Browns a couple of years ago. But again, been around the block a little bit here. I actually really liked this one, even though he's not big enough to qualify for what I was exactly looking for. But Quentin Morris has played a pretty good amount of football. He's on the Jaguars practice squad. Okay, Bowling Green a few years ago. 240 pounds, a little bit smaller at 6'2". But maybe Quentin Morris. So again, I wanted veterans initially and a little bit bigger players as well. And then I just got to thinking about a couple of old Bama players that I really liked in the draft process. Cameron Latu, who's bounced around, was on the Browns last year, was drafted by the 49ers in the middle rounds a couple years ago. Hadn't played in the NFL yet, hadn't been in an NFL game yet, been on the practice squad for a couple seasons. But Latu wouldn't be a bad player, 6'5", 244, a little bit of pass catching, a little bit of blocking. Played at Bama. We know the Texans like those big program guys. Again, lacking experience here. And then finally, C.J. Dippre. This was one of my favorite potential draft picks. He went undrafted out of the draft, but this guy was one of the strongest tight ends in the entire draft class this year. He's on the Patriots practice squad. At the Combine, he was one of the top bench press performers. And when I saw him going to the bench press, it looked like Arnold Schwarzenegger in Terminator 1 walking down the hallway. He had his headphones on. He had his sunglasses on inside. Didn't love that, but he was getting in the zone, and he went out there, and I think it was 33 bench press reps. It's a big fella. 6'5", 256, strong as an ox. Hadn't played a lot, obviously, but hey, get him in the building. Maybe teach him a little something. Stover's not coming back anytime soon, so maybe C.J. Dippre for there. But I really show you all those names to tell you this. The tight end problem has to get solved pretty much in-house. Harrison Bryant's played some NFL football, played on some active rosters, not practice squad guy for a lot of his career. He was on rosters, played for teams. You probably just assign him to the roster while Stover's out for a while and just kind of figure it out around Bryant and Schultz. There's only so much you could have done in this offseason. They had to address so many other things. They didn't address a lot of tight end stuff. They got unlucky with the injuries. Brevin Jordan out for the year. Cade Stover out for an undisclosed amount of time with the foot injury. They've had bad luck at tight end. Schultz has got to be excellent now. Whatever they do at the other tight end spot, that has to be something that can give them a little something. Blocking, an outlet, something. They got to be able to solve that other tight end spot in the course of the next few days. And just give themselves a chance there to solve the tight end problem. So, see what everybody has to say. Bubba Homeschool, he's got it figured out. Tight end 2, Harrison Bryant. Tight end 3, Jakob Johnson. Tight end 4, British Brooks. I'm here for it. I want more fullback. Bubba, I don't hate that idea. Andres asked about Jordan Akins. I know you said Atkins, but I know you meant Jordan Akins. Jordan Akins wasn't even in a training camp anywhere. I know he played last year for the Browns, but he wasn't even in training camp anywhere. So I just can't imagine that he would be the guy that you'd want to call. But hey, maybe he's ready to get up off the couch and go help you out. Sean wants to reach out to Green Bay for Luke Musgrave. High capital draft pick. They got outshined by a 6th-round pick in Tucker Kraft. They might want to keep Musgrave around, but I'd be in on the reclamation project. You throw him a 6th-rounder for Musgrave, maybe they'd bite. It's not a bad idea. Steve Areno's got an interesting question. Who plays center now with Andrews out? That's going to be Jarrett Patterson. The big question for me after Patterson is who plays if Jarrett Patterson gets hurt. That's not really an answer that you want to go to. It's probably Juice Scruggs, but maybe they have to promote somebody from the practice squad to be a backup. So maybe that's the case. AJ says that Dippery wearing sunglasses and sides may be the type of psychopathic behavior that they need. I'm telling you, looked like the Terminator walking down the hallway in Indianapolis, headed to the bench press. Had slippers on too. That was the crazy part. Had like slides with socks on, had his combine gear on, had the big headphones on and sunglasses. And he was just, you could hear the mechanics moving. And then he went out there and I think he threw up 33 reps, which was one of the top performances at the combine this year. A lot of guys didn't bench press. Dippery, not afraid. Now he went undrafted, and maybe there's a limited pass catching usefulness there, but I liked him in the draft process, and so maybe the Texans would take a swing. Ashton says, "What about Gerald Everett? Feels old and hadn't been productive for a few years. CJ Uzoma, Hayden Hurst has had some good moments. Yeah, I'd rather take a chance on a younger guy or a guy that hadn't played a lot of football than one of these, old guys. Though Mercedes Lewis, I don't think is retired yet. The locker rooms, Landry Locker wants the Jordan Akins trilogy. It's not the worst idea. I mean, there are worse ideas, like 45-year-old Mercedes Lewis. But I hope there are better ideas than Akins. And of course, if you're not subscribed to the Locker Room, please subscribe to the Locker Room with Landry Locker. And I join him on SNL each and every weekday at 4 p.m. So don't forget to subscribe to SNL as well. Okay, so we talked about the tight end position, and I think it's pretty simple. It's Harrison Bryant gets signed to the roster, or maybe Jakob Johnson and they're promoting Bryant, or they sign Bryant and they're promoting Jakob, and you need to use maybe a little British Brooks here and there as well. So it feels like that's kind of the solve there. The solve on the offensive line is just going to have to be guys got to get better. And Ariante Ursery's got to get better. Now, I'll put the context in here for you. He had the position swap where it was left tackle for a month, then he plays right tackle. Then he's at left tackle for a minute, then he's back at right tackle. So the context of the position swap and the difficult opponent is important. But the worst performer amongst rookie offensive linemen, according to Pro Football Focus, in week 1 was Ariante Ursery. He had a 29.4 pass block rating. It was the only rookie lineman rated below 30 in pass block. He was the only rookie lineman rated below 50. Now, there's twofold way to look at this. Ariante Ursery had a tough assignment, switched positions that week, and it led to a bad game. The other way would be Nick Caserio has missed on Kenyon Green, Juice Scruggs, Blake Fisher, and first game out of the gate, Ariante Ursery doesn't look too hot. So it does give you a little bit of worry. But you got 16 more games of the rookie. Let's see what he can do. Doesn't feel like the type of guy that's going to take failure lightly. He's going to be on his P's and Q's dialed in, and maybe, just maybe, he'll be back at the position that he should be playing, which is left tackle. But not great from Ariante Ursery right out the gate. In a year where he was the biggest investment in the offensive line, for him to go out there and have that game, again, as a rookie against a tough challenge, changing positions, not great, not what you want to see. And because context is important, did I want Ariante Ursery in the draft? Everybody can answer, no, I didn't. I wanted a different player. I wanted Tate Ratledge. Well, Tate Ratledge had a rough day too. He was not very good either. So the mullet man got worked by the Green Bay Packers. Right about the same time that Ariante Ursery is getting worked by the Rams, Tate Ratledge got worked by the Green Bay Packers. So my guard crush didn't look good. Ariante Ursery didn't look good. It only goes up for here for these guys. Only goes up from here for these guys. So not great for Ariante Ursary right out the gate. Not great for Tate right out the gate. You know who did have a good day? Kevin Zeitler. Remember when we talked about him? The free agent right guard from the Detroit Lions that was a one-year commitment for $8 million that the Tennessee Titans signed. And what did he go out there and do was just steady Eddie at right guard for the Titans in their first game. But hey, reclamation project at Ingram or, $4 million on journeyman guard Laken Tomlinson. That's what Caserio wanted to do. Didn't want to make the investment in Kevin Zeitler. God forbid you get a super productive offensive lineman for the past few seasons to play offensive line for you. God forbid. J.V. Allen, the Annihilator. I was concerned that I realized week 1 is a lie and this offense will improve. It'll be a mediocre offense and the defense will lead us. Yeah, the defense is going to have to carry the offense a couple times. There's going to be very few moments where the offense is taking care of the defense. Very few moments. And they might even be non-existent this year. But the defense is going to have the offense's back like Big Brother. When the offense gets picked on, the Big Brother defense is going to show up and say, hey, quit picking on my little brother. And, maybe every now and then the offense will take a swing of their own. LLNH60, this loss was not on the O-line at all. Play calling was horrible, not getting Nico and Higgins Wazy catches. You got to get the offensive stars more involved, specifically Nico, maybe Higgins, maybe Noel. But you got to get Nico Collins the ball more. And, the blocking's got to be better. I mean, you can't just dismiss the offensive line. Nick Jones, the Texans have screwed with rookie offensive linemen for 15 years. It's not been great. They do not have a great track record. Nick can't get O-line. Maybe he can get one right. Well, hadn't gotten much right yet. DQ, Big Tay, going to be a good addition for the future. Trust me, he'll be a dog. I like his mentality. I love the physical skill set. It didn't look good in the first one. Andres asked, can Cam Robinson play right tackle? Probably not. Hadn't played it his entire career. He's been a left tackle exclusively in the National Football League, so would think he's not moving over there. Black Eighth Element, they had a whole offseason to replace this line. If you don't want to play or trust Fisher or Scruggs, why'd they make the 53-man roster? No excuses. You're not wrong there. David says Ursary had a bad first game against a good D-line. He certainly did. He had a really bad first game. DeMullet was bad. And Micah Parsons will do that to you. $10 million for Petrie, though. Yeah, some of the money they spent this offseason lit money on fire for Nick Neiman. The extension for Petrie, the massive extension for Stingley, the big extension for Daniil Hunter. It could have been a lineman here or there. Is Ursary on Stroud's blind side a good idea? Let me ask you this. Is Cam Robinson on Stroud's blind side a good idea? I like Ursary there more than Robinson. The Drunk Texan. Do we have picks to make a few trades? They certainly do. They have an additional selection in the second round. They have an additional selection in the fourth round as well. So they got a couple extra picks if they want to make some moves. I don't know who that player is right now. Nathan's a little bit behind me. He says, what about Michael Mayer? I mean, if the Raiders want to dump him for a late round pick, I'd be down. All right, so that's where we are on the show today. A little bit about C.J. Stroud confidence, trying to solve the tight end problem with yuck around the league, but maybe old friend Nick Vannett or C.J. Diprioff, the Patriots practice squad's the answer. No, probably not. Tough day for Ursary. Expect to bounce back. Expect to bounce back from the entire offense as well heading into Tampa. Wonder what D'Amico Ryans and the locker room will have to say about that. Myself, Landry Locker, will be there today to talk to them. Take you inside the Texans locker room on YouTube a little bit later. Of course, SNL at 4 o'clock today. Myself and Landry Locker. Don't miss out on the live broadcast of SNL this Friday at Spanky's on Bel Air. It's over there in Sharpstown. Man, Such an incredible menu. I think I'm going with the hot honey pepperoni pizza when I get there Friday. But maybe I'll just have a couple of watermelon margaritas, or maybe you just want one of the other fantastic offerings that they have at Spanky's, the scratch-made items each and every day, from the dough to the sauce. You can't beat Spanky's, and you can't beat a live broadcast with SNL, so don't miss out this Friday, starting at 4 o'clock. Get there a little early, hang out a little late. Live broadcast at 4 on Friday with SNL and you over at Spanky's on Bel Air. Don't miss out on that. What other housekeeping do we need to do? I think that about does it here. Oh, AJ with a member chat here. As a WWE fan, thoughts on the Booker T hype video? I loved it. I don't know why they haven't been using Booker T. I mean, the guy was literally paid millions of dollars for years to cut promos, and it takes him this long to have him cut a promo about how awesome the Texans are about to be. Should have been using Booker for years. By the way, the Reality of Wrestling, they keep producing some really good wrestlers down there. Good show down there. When you go, boo my buddy Ruthless Ryan Davidson. I say boo because he's a bad guy. So if you go see him, the Reality Wrestling down there in League City, boo Ruthless Ryan Davidson. I knew him before he was ruthless. All right, that'll do it for the stream today. We finished the live stream the same way each and every time. Oh, yeah, Gunner hit it. Can you dig it, sucker? I'm not doing a spin-a-rooney, though. I'm not doing a spin-a-rooney. Asher says, any chance they trade Fisher and Scruggs? For what? Guys have no value. Maybe some team will give you something late for Fisher, but there's no value. All right, that'll do it. Got to get ready. Go to NRG Stadium. D'Amico Ryans talks today. Locker room today as well. Talk to some players. Talk to the head coach. Have those comments for you here on YouTube, either in the locker room tonight, SNL this afternoon, and we'll take you inside the Texans locker room here on the Houston Football with Cody Stoots channel as well. Appreciate everybody for watching, from the memberships to the likes to the subscribes to the super chats. It is all greatly appreciated. We end the live stream the same way each and every time. It's my hope for you. It's my charge for you as well. I want you to eat good. I want you to sleep good. I want you to be good. We'll talk Texans again soon. Thanks for watching, everybody.